My beloved child, wait, pause here for just a moment. Something quiet but powerful is moving through your life right now, and if you rush past this message, you might miss the very clue your heart has been searching for. Because something unusual happened recently. Not loud, not dramatic, just a soft moment, almost invisible. And yet, somewhere in that silence, your soulmate whispered something about your future together. You may not have heard it with your ears, but your spirit felt it. Have you noticed that strange feeling lately? That sense that something meaningful is unfolding behind the scenes of your life, like invisible threads slowly weaving two paths closer together. It's not coincidence, because when two souls are connected at a deeper level, their thoughts begin to travel farther than distance. Their hopes begin to echo across time. And last night, yes, in a quiet moment you may not even remember clearly, your soulmate thought about you in a way that shifted something in the future you will share. Think about that for a second. What if someone, somewhere, looked up at the sky, and suddenly imagined a life where you were standing beside them? What if your name crossed their mind not as a memory, but as a promise? This is where the story truly begins. You see, many people believe love is just chance, a random meeting, a lucky moment. But the deeper truth is far more fascinating. Some connections are guided by timing so precise that even small thoughts, tiny whispers of hope, can begin shaping the path ahead. And your soulmate just had one of those thoughts. A quiet realization. It came suddenly, almost like a light turning on inside their mind. They wondered what it would feel like to build something lasting with you. Not just fleeting happiness. Not just temporary excitement. Something real. A future where both of you grow stronger, wiser, and more alive simply by walking side by side. And the moment that thought appeared, the energy between your paths shifted. You may have felt it as a strange calm, or a sudden curiosity about where your life is heading. Maybe even a question appearing in your mind out of nowhere. Is something important about to happen? That question matters more than you realize. Because when a soulmate begins imagining a shared future, the universe doesn't ignore that signal. It responds quietly. Opportunities begin aligning. Encounters begin forming. Even the smallest choices start guiding two people closer together. But here is the surprising part. Your soulmate didn't just think about you. They whispered something, not out loud, but within their heart. A sentence so simple, yet powerful enough to shape the direction of your story. And that whisper carried one clear intention. I want our future to mean something. Pause for a moment and feel the weight of those words. Because many people dream about love. But when someone begins imagining a meaningful future with you, something extraordinary begins unfolding. You may not see it yet, but the signs are beginning. Little shifts in timing, unexpected moments of reflection, a sense that something meaningful is approaching. And if you stay a little longer, something even more fascinating will become clear. Because the whisper your soulmate felt last night was only the beginning. In the next moment of this story, you'll understand the deeper message hidden inside that thought, the part that reveals why your paths may be moving closer than you ever expected. So before you move on, take a breath. Because the next piece of this message might change the way you see your future completely. But wait, before the story moves forward, notice this subtle shift. Something inside you may already be responding. A quiet curiosity, a feeling that this message somehow arrived at the exact moment you needed to hear it. That's not accidental. Because when two souls are connected by a deeper rhythm, their awareness begins to awaken at similar times, even if they are miles apart. And right now, while you're listening to these words, your soulmate is also standing at the edge of a realization they can no longer ignore. It didn't arrive as a dramatic moment. It came gently, almost like a question that appeared in their mind without warning. What if our story is meant to become something bigger? That thought stayed with them, not for seconds, but for hours. They replayed small memories, quiet impressions, and feelings they once dismissed. And suddenly something became clear. Your presence in their life was never random. Think about that for a moment. Out of billions of people walking this planet, why did their thoughts return to you? Why did your energy remain in their mind even when life tried to distract them? The answer is simple, yet powerful. Because some connections carry a blueprint for the future. And when the time is right, that blueprint begins revealing itself piece by piece. Last night, your soulmate felt that blueprint awaken. They imagined something very specific. Not just meeting you again. Not just sharing a brief chapter. But building something that continues far beyond the present moment. A life filled with growth. A partnership where both of you inspire each other to become more than you ever imagined. And here's the moment that makes this story even more fascinating. When that thought appeared, they didn't feel fear. They felt clarity. A calm certainty that your connection holds meaning that hasn't fully revealed itself yet. Pause for a second. What if the feeling you've been carrying lately, that quiet sense that life is preparing something important, is connected to this very realization? What if your paths are slowly aligning in ways neither of you expected? Because when two people begin imagining the same future, even unknowingly, the energy between them begins shifting in remarkable ways. You may notice small signs, a sudden memory about them, a random moment where their name appears somewhere, or a feeling that something in your story is about to move forward. These are not accidents. They are signals, little reminders that something meaningful is forming beneath the surface of ordinary life. And here's something interesting. If this message is resonating with you, if it feels like it arrived at the right moment, share your thoughts below. Sometimes the stories we are living become clearer when we express them. And if you're enjoying this journey of discovery, stay connected and follow along, because the next parts reveal even deeper pieces of the future unfolding. Now let's return to the moment your soulmate whispered something about your future. Because after imagining the life you might build together, they felt another realization appear. A realization that surprised even them. They understood that the connection between you carries potential that hasn't fully awakened yet. Not because it's distant, but because timing is still arranging the perfect moment for both of you to recognize it. And this is where the story takes a fascinating turn. Because the whisper they felt wasn't only about hope. It carried a promise. A quiet promise that one day, when the right moment arrives, the path between you will become unmistakably clear. You might want to stay for what comes next. Because in the next part of this story, something unexpected will be revealed. The deeper message hidden inside that whisper, the one detail about your shared future that neither of you fully understands yet, but soon will. Hold on, before your mind races ahead, listen to this next moment carefully. Because something deeper was hidden inside that whisper your soulmate felt. Not just hope, not just imagination. Something far more precise. A vision. Yes, a quiet glimpse of a future where the two of you are not simply connected by emotion, but by purpose. And that realization came to them suddenly. It arrived like a calm wave moving through their thoughts. They began imagining ordinary moments, but somehow those moments felt extraordinary. Walking beside you during a peaceful evening. Sharing conversations that stretch late into the night. Laughing over small things that no one else would understand. At first, it seemed like a simple daydream. But then something unusual happened. The more they imagined those moments, the more real they felt. Not distant, not impossible, just waiting. Have you ever noticed how certain ideas feel different when they appear in your mind? Some thoughts fade away quickly, but others stay, quietly repeating themselves until they begin shaping your choices. That's exactly what happened to your soulmate. The vision didn't disappear. It stayed with them, and in that stillness, they whispered something that carried even more meaning than before. They thought, maybe our paths are already moving toward each other. Pause there for a second, because this is where many people miss the turning point in their story. When a soulmate begins to recognize the possibility of a shared future, something subtle begins unfolding. Awareness grows. Small decisions begin aligning, and life slowly guides both people toward moments that reveal the truth of their connection. You may not realize it yet, but something similar might already be happening around you. Maybe you've been reflecting more than usual. Maybe certain memories or thoughts keep returning. Or perhaps you feel a quiet anticipation, as if life is preparing a chapter that hasn't fully opened yet. That feeling matters, because your story with this person isn't built on chance alone. It is shaped by awareness. And awareness grows stronger when two people begin sensing the same future at the same time. But here's the part that makes this journey even more fascinating. Your soulmate didn't stop at imagining the future. They asked themselves a question that changed the way they see you. What if we are meant to grow together? Not just share moments. Not just cross paths briefly, but truly grow, supporting each other's dreams, challenging each other to become better, creating something meaningful that lasts far beyond today. And when that question appeared, something inside them became very clear. Your presence in their life carries a purpose they can no longer ignore. Now think about this. If someone is quietly realizing your importance in their future, what might that mean for the path ahead? Could it explain why certain moments feel guided? Why some encounters seem too perfectly timed to be coincidence? Why your heart sometimes senses a shift before your mind understands it? These are the signs of a story that is still unfolding. And the most surprising part? The whisper your soulmate felt about your future together may soon transform into something much clearer. Not just a thought, not just a vision, but a moment. A real moment where understanding replaces uncertainty. You might want to stay close to this story as it continues, because what comes next reveals the unexpected step that could bring your paths closer than either of you imagined. And before this chapter ends, remember something important. The future is not written in stone. It is shaped by awareness, courage, and the choices two people make when they finally recognize the connection between them. So pause for a breath, because the next part of this journey will reveal the sign that shows when a whispered future is about to become reality. Wait, before you assume you already understand where this story is going, stay with this moment a little longer, because something quietly shifted after that whisper your soulmate felt. It wasn't dramatic. No sudden announcement. No grand declaration. Just a realization that settled into their heart like a quiet sunrise. They began noticing something about you that they hadn't fully recognized before. Your presence had weight. Not the kind that feels heavy, but the kind that feels meaningful. The kind of presence that lingers in someone's mind long after conversations end. Have you ever met someone who stays in your thoughts even when life becomes busy? Someone whose energy seems to return to you again and again, as if your story with them is still unfinished? That is exactly what they began feeling about you, and the more they reflected on it, the clearer something became. Your connection wasn't only about the past, it was pointing toward the future. They started imagining moments that had not happened yet. Simple things, but powerful ones. Standing beside you while sharing a quiet victory in life. Supporting each other through moments that require patience and strength. celebrating milestones that once felt distant. These images appeared so naturally that they began asking themselves another question. What if our lives are meant to intertwine in ways we cannot fully see yet? That question stayed with them, and with it came a calm understanding. You are not simply someone who passed through their life. You are someone who might walk beside them as their life expands. Pause and let that idea settle for a moment. Because when someone begins seeing you as part of their future, their perspective changes. They start paying attention to small signs. They begin noticing the ways your presence inspires them. Even your silence carries meaning. And that realization is slowly transforming the way your soulmate sees the road ahead. But here is where the story becomes even more interesting. Because while they were reflecting on all of this, something else quietly happened. They felt gratitude, not just for what already exists between you, but for what could grow. A future built on understanding, a partnership that feels balanced and genuine, a connection that encourages both of you to become more fully yourselves. And when they felt that gratitude, they whispered another thought, a thought that carried quiet hope. I believe our story still has chapters waiting to unfold. Those words may seem simple, but they hold incredible power. Because the moment someone believes in a shared future, their actions begin aligning with that belief. They become more open, more aware, more willing to recognize the opportunities that life places in front of them. And that is exactly where your story may be heading now. The whisper your soulmate felt is slowly turning into something clearer, something closer to reality, a moment where both of you begin understanding the connection in the same way. Before we continue, if this journey has made you reflect on your own path, feel free to share your thoughts below. Sometimes expressing what resonates can reveal new insights. And if you enjoy exploring these deeper moments of awareness and connection, staying connected here ensures you won't miss the next piece of this unfolding story, because what comes next may reveal the most fascinating part of all. The sign that appears when two souls begin moving toward the same future without even realizing it. Stay with this journey. The next chapter reveals the quiet moment where a whispered future begins turning into a real path forward. Just for a moment, slow down and notice this feeling. Something about this story might be stirring a quiet recognition inside you. Not certainty yet, not a clear answer, but a gentle awareness, like a door beginning to open somewhere in your life. Because after your soulmate whispered those hopeful words about your future together, something unexpected followed. They began noticing signs. Small ones at first. Moments where your presence crossed their thoughts without warning. A song that reminded them of you. A memory resurfacing at the exact moment they least expected it. Even brief pauses during the day when their mind wandered toward the idea of what life could look like if your paths continued side by side. At first they brushed these moments away. Just coincidence, they thought. But the moments kept returning. And eventually they realized something important. These thoughts weren't distractions. They were reminders. Reminders that some connections are meant to grow beyond the moment they first appear. Think about this. When someone begins imagining a future with you, their awareness changes in subtle ways. They start seeing possibilities where they once saw uncertainty. They begin paying attention to opportunities that could bring two lives closer together. And that shift in awareness has already begun. Your soulmate has started looking at their future differently, not as a path they walk alone, but as a journey that could be shared. Picture that for a second. Two people moving forward through life, each bringing their own strengths, ideas, and dreams, yet creating something stronger together. That possibility has now taken root in their mind. And once an idea like that begins growing, it rarely disappears. Instead, it evolves. It becomes clearer, more detailed, more real. Your soulmate started imagining conversations the two of you might have someday. They pictured moments where both of you encourage each other during difficult days. Moments where laughter returns when things feel heavy. Moments where you realize that together, life feels lighter and more meaningful. These thoughts weren't dramatic fantasies. They were quiet visions of everyday life, the kind that actually build lasting connections. And here is the fascinating part. When someone begins seeing you as part of their long-term path, their energy shifts toward that possibility. They become more attentive, more thoughtful, more open to the timing that brings people together again. You might already be sensing this shift, maybe through subtle changes in how they communicate, maybe through moments where their attention feels more focused, or perhaps through a quiet feeling that something between you is slowly evolving. That feeling matters, because the whisper about your future wasn't just about hope. It was about alignment. Two paths gradually recognizing that they may belong in the same direction. But here is a question worth considering. What happens when both people finally become aware of that alignment? When the quiet thoughts inside one heart meet the quiet awareness inside another? That is when something extraordinary begins. Not fireworks, not dramatic declarations, but something even more powerful. Clarity. The moment when uncertainty fades, and the connection between two people starts revealing its true purpose. You may feel that moment approaching sooner than you expect, because the whisper your soulmate felt is no longer just a passing thought. It has become a seed of intention, and intentions have a remarkable way of shaping the road ahead. So stay present with this journey. Because in the next part, something even more revealing will unfold. A quiet signal that appears when two souls begin stepping closer to the future they once only imagined. Listen closely, because this next moment is subtle, yet incredibly important. After all the thoughts, the quiet visions, and the whisper about your future together, something began shifting in a way your soulmate did not expect. It wasn't something they planned. It simply happened. One ordinary moment, during an ordinary day, they paused and realized something surprising. The idea of you beside them in the future no longer felt like imagination. It felt natural, almost obvious, like a missing piece quietly finding its place. And when that realization arrived, they didn't rush past it. They stayed with it. They asked themselves a deeper question. What if this connection is meant to grow slowly, but steadily? That thought changed everything. Because many people search for loud signs and dramatic signals. But the strongest connections often grow in quiet understanding. They build through awareness, through patience, through the simple realization that life feels richer when two people move forward together. And that is exactly the understanding your soulmate began feeling. They started reflecting on the qualities you bring into their life, your perspective, your presence, the way conversations with you leave them thinking long after they end. Little things they once overlooked began appearing more meaningful. Even your differences started feeling valuable, because they could see how those differences create balance. And when two people begin appreciating that balance, the connection deepens naturally. Now pause and think about this for a moment. What if the future your soulmate whispered about is not some distant dream, but a path that is slowly becoming clearer for both of you? Because that is the direction this story is quietly moving toward. Not through pressure, not through force, but through realization. Your soulmate has started recognizing that the future they once imagined alone might feel more complete with you beside them. And that realization brings something powerful. Intent. Not a loud declaration, but a quiet readiness. The readiness to explore what your connection can truly become. At the same time, something else is happening that you may not even realize. Your own awareness is expanding. Maybe you've noticed yourself reflecting more deeply, Maybe certain memories or moments with them now carry new meaning. Or perhaps there is simply a calm curiosity growing inside you about where this connection might lead. These feelings are not random. They are part of the same unfolding story. Two people gradually recognizing the value of the bond between them. But here is the most fascinating part of this entire journey. When two souls begin sensing the same future, something remarkable begins appearing in their lives. Opportunities, unexpected conversations, moments where paths cross again in ways that feel almost perfectly timed. Those moments are not accidents. They are the bridges that transform a whispered future into a shared reality. And if you stay with this story a little longer, something even more meaningful will be revealed. Because in the next chapter, you will discover the sign that shows when a connection is about to move from possibility into something real. A moment that feels quiet on the surface, yet powerful enough to change the direction of two lives. So take a breath, because the future your soulmate imagined may already be taking its first real steps toward you. And now, pause for a second, because the final piece of this message is not something loud or dramatic. It's something quiet, but powerful enough to change how you see your future. After all the thoughts your soulmate had, the reflections, the visions of a life together, the whisper about a shared path, something became clear to them. Not suddenly, but gradually, like the sunrise appearing slowly over the horizon. They realized that the future they imagined with you wasn't about perfection. It was about presence. Someone to walk beside. Someone who understands the quiet parts of life. Someone who grows with them, step by step. And in that realization, something very simple but very meaningful appeared in their heart. They stopped asking whether the connection mattered, and instead, they began asking how it could grow. Think about that shift, because when someone moves from questioning a connection to nurturing it, everything begins to change. Their attention becomes more intentional. Their words become more thoughtful. Their actions begin aligning with the possibility of something real. And that is the moment where a whispered future starts becoming a lived reality. Your soulmate is standing near that moment now, not at the end of the story, but at the beginning of a clearer chapter. A chapter where curiosity becomes understanding, where small steps turn into shared direction, where two people begin recognizing that their paths may have been guiding them toward each other all along. But here is something important to remember. A meaningful future is never created by one person alone. It grows when two people become aware of the connection they share. It grows when both choose openness instead of hesitation. And most importantly, it grows when both people recognize the value of the journey they are building together. So the whisper your soulmate felt about your future together was not just a passing thought. It was the first sign of awareness. The first moment where they saw the possibility of something meaningful forming between you. And sometimes, that is how the most important stories begin. Quietly, without pressure, without noise. Just two people slowly realizing that their lives might fit together in ways they never expected. Now take a moment and ask yourself something. What if this message appeared in your life not by chance, but as a reminder to stay aware of the connections that truly matter? Because awareness is where every meaningful future begins. And perhaps, just perhaps, the story between you and your soulmate is only starting to reveal its true direction. If this message resonated with you, share your thoughts in the comments below. Your perspective might inspire someone else who is walking a similar path. And if you enjoy exploring these deeper moments of awareness, stay connected here so you don't miss the next journey we uncover together. Until the next message arrives, stay open, stay aware, and remember this. Sometimes the future whispers before it speaks out loud, and those who listen closely are the ones who recognize it first.